Hello, my name is Joshua Keith, and this is theburningcoal.com, a website dedicated to God's glory, His grace, and our response to it. Today we're going to have a Monday motivation talking about doing good. This is really important for us to focus on as Christians because our culture actually tends to not do good. Now, some of this happens because people are evil. There are evil people in the world and they want to spread misery and pain to those around them. But there's other people who are not trying to hurt others, but they're not doing good because they're allowing themselves to be distracted. They're not focused on doing good. They're focused on other things. And because of that, they don't actually do good. And so we want to make sure as we're going through this week that we're focusing on a mindset that encourages other people, that does good for other people. Let's take a look at Philemon chapter 1, verse 14. Here Paul writes to Philemon and he says, "But I preferred to do nothing without your consent in order that your goodness might not be by compulsion, but of your own accord." So we see here that Paul has written a letter to Philemon. And Philemon was a slave owner. The slave in question here is Onesimus. And Onesimus wasn't a Christian. He ran away from Philemon. And later on, he encounters Paul and is converted to the gospel by Paul. And then he decides that he wants to go and help Paul on his missionary's journey, help spread the word that had done so much for his own life. But Paul says, no, there's something we have to get cleared up first. You are a slave to Philemon. And so Paul writes the letter of Philemon to him and has Onesimus take it back. So that way they can get everything squared away. And in that is where we get to this verse 14 where Paul says that he prefers that nothing be done without Philemon's consent in order that Philemon's goodness might not be by compulsion but of your own accord. Paul could have just sent a letter back saying, by the way, Onesimus is with me now. Sorry about that, but he's going to help us with the gospel. He could have tried to compel Philemon to do this. But what he said was he wanted Philemon to show goodness of his own intent, of his own accord. And so we see here that there is goodness that is being done by Philemon. This is a big sacrifice that Philemon is going to make. When he does this, now he's got to figure out how things are going to run without Onesimus. Where is that financial investment that he's made? Where is that going to go? He's getting nothing back. Nothing is being offered in return. Paul is just saying, can you please show goodness to Onesimus by letting him go? And so this informs us a bit about the goodness that we should be showing to other people. And the first point is that it should be shown towards others. Sometimes we think about being good as, well, today I didn't do anything bad. But when you look at goodness in the scriptures, both God's goodness and ours, the implication really is that the goodness is not just some self-contained entity, but instead something that you are doing for others, that you are showing to others. And it's why we see the two greatest commands talked about Jesus. Love the Lord your God, but also love your neighbor as yourself. What God desires from us is that we are looking for ways to help other people, that we are showing love to other people. And you see this over and over again in both the Old and the New Law. There is a primary focus of looking out for those who are weak, those who are not as financially well off as you are, but also those who are not as spiritually well off as you are. Those who are sad, those who need comfort. God wants us to be doing good to those around us. And so when we're looking at this mindset, we need to ask ourselves, what good are we doing? Not just what am I avoiding, but what good am I doing? And finally, it's not meant to be something under compulsion. God wants us to develop a heart that looks to do good for other people. And really, that heart that we're developing is a reflection of God's own goodness. Because we think about the fact that God first loved us. God first sent his Son to us. He showed us mercy. He did good to us, not because he was under compulsion, not because he owed us, not because we were more powerful, not because he was trying to curry our favor so we could do something for him, but because he wanted to do good for us. We need to have that same heart, that same mindset, that it's not about under compulsion, it's not a part of a checklist, it's not something that we just do. But instead, we have the love that God has towards others, so that we too will do good. I hope this lesson blesses you in your walk in his kingdom.